Today I'm going to be showing you an updated perfected DPS build for the Trickster. I realized my previous build, while it handled fairly well in T15 3-player, did not really perform in solo, and after acquiring everything and playing with everything a lot, I have now revamped this build, and this is definitely the most damage you're going to be able to do. It destroys solo T15s, it destroys in solo 3 players, especially if you have 3 players that can already solo T15. You'll just run through them. So let's get into the build. We're going to be using the Bulwark over the Death Shield for a couple of reasons. One, it has bleed, which allows us to get extra damage off bleed perks. 2, it has crit damage. 3, it has status power and close range. 4, it's easy to buy a high rolled version of it from Tiago, especially after you start farming out T15s. Another thing about it is the timing on it with this setup actually allows you to basically teleport behind somebody, unload 28 to 29 bullets, and within about half a second you'll have Hunt the Prey back up. So yeah, the Bulwark over the Death Shield 100%. But if you want a secondary, literally you should almost never be losing your rounds in any expedition with this setup. And I'll even show you a way that if you did happen to fire your last bullet and reload, you can actually get your twisted rounds back instantaneously, almost like within 1 second. Well, 2 seconds really, but if you did lose your rounds and you wanted to spam anything else or use anything else for a second, what you should be running is the Death Shield with Fortress and Moaning Winds, and then your pistol with Moaning Winds, so you can spam 2 quick Moaning Winds while you're wait on your rounds to come back up. So all 5 pieces are epics. All 5 pieces have the same attributes. I'll just say it once: firepower, cooldown, close range. The mods are going to be instant reload, crit stack, and by the way, this is a very easy build to do because it has 5 tier 2 mods. So if you're not already familiar with how to create God rolled epics out of rares, I do have that video on my channel. Just search God rolled epics on my channel for Outriders. And it's very easy to make this build provided you already have the mods. Just gotta find the gear with the attributes and you're good to go. So next up we have Tainted Blood and Bloody Boost, Twisted Fate, Personal Space, Strong Twist, and Emergency Stance, which will be our only defensive perk, Captain Hunter, and Bloodlust. And the reason I'm not taking Sharp Eye over Bloodlust is this is a very aggressive build. You're always shooting. You don't want to be slowed down by aiming. I mean, occasionally when you go behind an enemy, you can aim and kill them, but for the most part, you're always strafing, shooting, rolling, and teleporting. That's basically all you're doing and running. You don't really want to be slowed by aiming at all. Always on the move, always shooting, waiting for that opening. So let's go on to the skills. Now, the reason for borrowed time is twofold. First off, the very low cooldown allows us to spam it at the beginning of engagements, and immediately after we use Hunt the Prey, we can get a lot of armor. In the harder fights, when we have to take out a couple of elites, we can spam it as we shoot in between taking shots and teleporting behind. So this gives us armor to keep going, but it also allows us, say we lose our twisted rounds because we messed up and now we're in the reload animation. So what you can do is, while the gun is currently in the reload animation, immediately use Hunt the Prey and teleport behind an enemy. Immediately after teleporting behind that enemy, double tap Borrow Time, and you will get your rounds back. You will have 30 rounds, and you will have your twisted rounds like you never lost them. So I just kind of discovered that accidentally and then did several tests, and that's the exact method you need to do. Once again, I'll just say it one more time. If you do fire that last bullet on your twisted rounds and you go into the reload animation, just spam Hunt the Prey and try to teleport behind somebody. Immediately after you teleport behind someone, then double tap Borrow Time, and you will get your rounds back. You have to teleport behind before the reload animation completes, and then you have to double tap Borrow Time before the reload animation completes, which you'll have plenty of time at that point. and you can get your rounds back. And obviously, we're running Twisted Rounds and Hunt the Prey. Really, no explanation needed there. But one thing to note with Hunt the Prey at a 4.8-second cooldown time, as I said, you can teleport behind somebody with the bulwark, fire 28 to 29 bullets, and it's about the perfect timing for Hunt the Prey to be available again. So this setup is just so beast. Now, we're going to be taking close range damage, armored piercing, which just doesn't really matter, but we don't want to decrease our reload time, because if you do happen to mess up, you want as much reload time as possible in order to use Hunt the Prey and then burrow time to be able to just instantly get your Twisted Rounds back. Then we have increased weapon damage, increased shotgun damage, decreased cooldown on our movement speeds, increased critical damage, increased close range damage, activation of movement skills increases weapon damage, armor piercing, which really doesn't matter, more damage when hitting enemies from behind, more damage, reduce cooldown on our movement speeds, and I'll get into why we're taking this weapon leech in a moment, or actually really quickly, because there's nothing else you can take. You can take 10% health, but actually the weapon leech is pretty good. I mean, this allows you to actually gain back life while you're dealing damage, so it actually is highly viable, and there's just nothing else good to take. And then we have more damage when behind, more damage against elites, more magazine size, more damage, and more damage. And I will have the gameplay video linked in the description, which will be a solo T15 run, which you can check out, so you can see exactly how you can play this class very well. And I'll even try to mess up my round. I'll mess up my rounds once and get it back, so you can see that process in action. And I hope this video helps.